the way it's framed is he is a character amongst this kind of motley crew of people that he has surrounding him, and it's just interesting because you see him fall in love so easily. He's really passionate about these guys that he falls in love with. He falls very hard very quickly.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Film Marriott on YouTube, and of course it is Boys on Film. No Raj today, but we have Sean Vickers waiting in the wings to talk about Enfant Terrible. Did I get the pronunciation
right? We are here
right?
to talk about Enfant Terrible.
Yeah.
Infant Terrible, however you want to pronounce it. Different in every language.
Yeah.
You pick one.
Terrible. I kind of like Terrible. It sounds a bit sexier, doesn't it?
It was not Terrible, let's just put it that way. That's not a pun.
So it's an interesting filmmaker. I really wanted to see this. I just didn't get around to seeing it. But yeah, you've got all the gossip for us.
It really is a biopic about Rainer Fassbinder, who is, very famous new wave German film director. And for a lot of people out there, they'll know his work for The Life of Maria Brown, or for a lot of gay people for Querelle.
Yes, me included.
Just bear that in mind, because actually the way they've put this film together, this biopic, is really interesting because it feels at times like Querelle. The way it's shot, the lighting, the way it's constructed. The actor who plays Fassbinder is called Oliver Masucci. Now, some of you may know him. He was in Dark recently, and he played Ulrich Nielsen. I'm a Dark fan, so it was interesting to see him play Fassbinder, because he's fast and wild in this movie, and it's a good over 2 hours. Now, people will know that I'm not a fan of a very, very long film. But it held me. It really held me. It was very interesting.
It didn't feel like a long film then, because you're enthralled by it, gripped.
It was just the way it was shot, because I think the team behind it are also well-known German film producers and directors, and it's got a level of quality to it, and it's almost set on a soundstage, similar to that recent Almodovar film, or something like Mandalay or Dogville. So you're set on a soundstage, and they're just reusing the soundstage to tell the story of Fassbinder's life as a filmmaker. And it's wild, because in some ways he is this enfant terrible, but it also tells the story of the people around him. He had this network of people around him, a little bit like Andy Warhol in The Factory. And actually, Andy Warhol features later in the film when he's about to make about Querelle. But it really is this group of people that he has around him, and how he interacts with them. He had gay lovers. He was married to a woman. Actually, he was married to two women over time. They were both in his gang. And what's interesting, actually, is the amount of bisexual lighting in this film, which I thought was really well done.
Yeah.
It's really well put together. I was not at all. It held me just because I thought the way that they put it together was so interesting, and told his story. He lived life to the full. He died at 37, and I think they did a really good job. And I have to say, the lead actor did a really good job of portraying that. It was wild, really wild, but set in this kind of highly stylized biopic. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it will be to everyone's taste.
Isn't it weird though? You think about queer filmmakers that have really stood out. Especially Querelle. That's a film that I always remember growing up as being really vivid. Whenever I saw that picture, it was a real vivid image. It's an interesting filmmaker, because you say that he died at the age of 37. I never knew this, and it's a story that should have been told ages ago, years ago on film, and I'm surprised actually it's only now that we see a film about him.
Well, I think we've had interesting kind of queer biopics. Mapplethorpe was last year or the year before, which I think did a really good job. I think this is very different. It's not like Mapplethorpe. It's very stylized. It's a very stylized biopic. The way it's shot, the lighting, the staging, the pace, and then I think he is. The way it's framed is he is a character amongst this kind of motley crew of people that he has surrounding him, and it's just interesting because you see him fall in love so easily. He's really passionate about these guys that he falls in love with. He falls very hard very quickly, and you see all that play out in this biopic. And then he's surrounded by all these other people that he's kind of collected along the way, who he kind of likes and gets on with, and it's portrayed well. And I think it's, as I say, I don't think it's for everyone, but if you like Fassbinder and you like Querelle, certainly it has it has that feel. They've taken something from that about how they structured this biopic.
So did you know a lot about him already? Did you learn anything from watching this? I mean, because, you know, it is entertainment. It's a drama, obviously. But, I mean, some of these films that are done like this, I think you can get quite a lot back from them, especially if you think you know an artist or a filmmaker or an actor. I think you can learn stuff as well.
So I wouldn't say I learned things academically. I think I would say I learned a vibe and energy about how he was as a filmmaker and how he lived his life. You know, like some biopics, you come away and you go, oh, I didn't know that happened in 1981, or I didn't know that happened in 1975, or I didn't know he met that person. It's not that kind of biopic. It really has a feel to it that stays with you around him as a person and how he lived his life and how he wanted to make film, which is different. So I couldn't say I walked away. I may know a bit more about his kind of filmography, the timeline. But other than that, really, it's a deeper feeling. It's more emotional. It's more around, like, seeing him as a character. Like, you know, you can just imagine him in the late 70s and early 80s, this character. You know, he was like, in the way that you used to see early, you know, when you were kids and you used to see rock stars, and they were just kind of like this larger-than-life bon vivant characters. He was just this character. You can just imagine him hanging out with Warhol and all that good stuff. He was just, yeah, amazing. And I think that comes across incredibly well in the biopic.
So the closing question then, Sean, do you recommend Enfant Terrible?
I do recommend it, and I would give it 4 stars. I'm sure some people may not recommend it and not give it 4 stars, but that is my rating today.
A Marmite movie in some respects?
I think because of the way it's shot, I think because of the length, and I think because it's not your traditional biopic, I think it may turn people off. But I would say stick with it. I thought it was great.
I lied when I said it was the closing question. The closing question actually is, are you enjoying the BFI Flare Festival this year?
I'm loving it. I mean, it's a lot of visual entertainment to take in. It is like running a marathon. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's amazing. There's just a lot for your brain to process. But as always, a really rich theme of amazing filmmakers and shorts and docs out there. So yeah, I'm super happy. How about you, Phil?
What a relief. Yeah, I am. Yeah, but I'm glad you said you are enjoying it because we've got a lot more to do.
Got a lot to do. But yeah, a lot of good stuff out there. Really, really, you know, as ever, the team have put together a really amazing lineup.